Talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
Hey Zoe, I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
First and foremost, other than the obvious, in terms of like long distance relationships, red flags, and this is what we're really going to focus on here today, things like lying, cheating, addiction, these sorts of things. We're going to cover a lot of these sort of like important red flags to notice. Now, I'm going to tell you what to do about some of these things as well in here. But this is actually coming up as a topic because I've had a lot of questions this week from people in long distance relationships talking about red flags and being curious. And then obviously because of like the climate over the last sort of 1.5 to 2 years, a lot of people have been in long distance situations or can't travel to see one another and things like that. So we're going to do a deep dive here today about like red flags to pay attention to in long distance relationships. Now, one of these at a time may be a solvable problem and may not be, something much bigger. But part of this video is actually based off of over the years in my client-based practice. I have seen people who are in long distance relationships, and every so often, I would say, 1 in 30, 1 in 40, I will see certain patterns pop up that tend to be quite congruent. And unfortunately, every so often, somebody with many of the patterns we're going to mention today, 6 of these patterns, especially when all of these things are together, oftentimes when we're seeing a lot of these all at the same time, somebody may be saying they're in a monogamous long distance relationship with you, but there may be somebody else in their life. There may be a family, somebody else there in the background that's a part of the situation. So I'm definitely not saying, before I dive into these things, that everybody in a long distance relationship, if there's one of the red flags that I mentioned here, that this is what's happening. And I'm definitely not saying that this is something that often happens in long distance relationships. I'm sort of covering the basis for people who are wondering, what's going on? I'm really not getting my needs met in a long distance relationship, and just some things to watch out for so you don't get stuck in situations where you're justifying things, seeing things that you're not happy with, seeing things that don't make you feel comfortable or safe, or just like connected in the relationship, and that you keep kind of like justifying, oh, it's because of this thing or it's because of that thing. This is really going to bring a lot of stuff to sort of the surface here. So number one is ambiguity. So if you see, a lot of ambiguity in a relationship, that on its own is not that big of a deal, but it is a call for like going towards that problem and having a discussion to work through it. One of the biggest things you'll see in long distance relationships is because there's this space in actually not being able to see one another in person, we have to make up for this gap in space by literally oversharing rather than undersharing, so that person can like really feel like they're a part of our lives. So what you can do is share about your day and the details and the small things. And when you're oversharing, it really makes people feel connected. It makes people feel like there's not this big distance and gap, and it makes people feel safer. And like there's more vulnerability and closeness in the relationship. And I sometimes see people go into long distance relationships being like a little more avoidant, maybe a fearful avoidant and dismissive avoidant together. And because they both have more of an avoidance side, they're not used to sharing as many details, not used to opening up as much. And then they get into a long distance relationship and it can really like fizzle out there. So this is a really good strategy to bring in. Now, if you're not doing this, and if you're seeing a lot of ambiguity overall, where people aren't sharing what they're doing in the evening, or they share, oh, I'm just going out with some friends, and they're not including like details, and they're, oh, I'm just going out with a friend to dinner. A lot of the ambiguity, it becomes a problem because the mind is left to sort of fill in the blanks with potential worst case scenarios. And then if no party feels safe being vulnerable enough to say, what kind of friend? Hey, I would love to know details because that would make me feel closer and more involved in your life and would help make up for the distance. Then what happens instead is people just start getting into these, oftentimes like these sort of spiteful games where they'll be more ambiguous back and try to, and it can just create this like chaos. It doesn't need to exist in long distance relationships. So oversharing rather than undersharing, huge. Ambiguity, a red flag on its own, but still a very solvable problem just through approach oriented behavior and having a healthy conversation that opens the dialogue to like talk about this stuff and just share what our needs are to overcome this hurdle. Number two, inconsistency. And again, on a small scale, not a problem. If somebody doesn't text back for 6 or 7 hours, I really don't think that's something we should be overly concerned about, especially if it's like during the day, somebody's at the, working, things like that. When somebody goes missing for a full day, a full 2 days, and you're in a relationship, I don't mean you're in the dating phase and you're like vetting one another and you haven't made a commitment. I mean, like you're in a committed relationship. You've made a commitment. If you're in a committed romantic relationship, it is completely fair to ask that you speak once per day. If somebody's going through a hard time or somebody...
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason on a Wednesday, hump day, back in the building with yet another heater. We're talking about red flags. We're talking about red flags. My email account is full of topics. And one of the topics that was sent in to me was, could you please cover the red flags? Now, I did red flags when I first got here. Year number 1. I did that. Okay? What was that? February of 22? Something like that. I did that. But I was like, okay, I'll revisit it, unveiling the consequences of ignoring internal red flags in relationships. Are red flags within intimate relationships just par for the course because humanity is naturally flawed? You heard what I said. Are red flags simply par for the course? You're dealing with broken people. So I'm sure there are going to be some red flags somewhere. The number to dial, 1-800-920-1580. Call me. Join us for a thought-provoking discussion with me here, the voice of reason on KBLA Talk 1580. I need y'all to tune in because it's going to be on fire. I want you to call in to our hotline and share your red flag story, 1-800-920-1580. Share your thoughts and your experiences. We're about to cook with grease. What exactly are red flags? Now, that particular video, the young lady was talking about long-distance relationships. But I feel like if you're in a relationship with somebody that lives around the corner from you, ambivalence, probably not so much of a good thing. Right? Probably not so much of a good thing. What are your red flags? What are your top 5 red flags? Do you know? Being threatened. That's one. Feeling manipulated or controlled. That's another. If you feel afraid of your partner, that's pretty tough. That's a red flag. Why would you be afraid? Being embarrassed by your partner, being put down by your partner, being shamed by your partner, being guilted by your partner. Red flags. Right? Yeesh. Having to lose your friends because of your partner. That's a red flag. Ugh. Ladies and gentlemen, disrespect is a red flag. Get to your phone lines, 1-800-920-1580. I really want to hear it. I really want to hear it. One of my red flags is this, and this is one of my favorite red flags, and I've worded it in such a way it's different. Regarding intimate relationships, whenever I hear unidirectional blame, I know I'm dealing with a spiritual child. When it's always somebody else's fault, that's a red flag. When somebody else is responsible, that's a red flag. When people do not understand the natural bidirectionality of a relationship, meaning everything on the outside is affecting me. No. Something in you is affecting them too. And something in you drew them to you. Yeah, I know. I know. Nobody wants to hear it put this way. A deeper look at the consequences of ignoring internal red flags. You know those red flags are internal as much as they are external. Yee. If you ignore the red flags, embrace the heartache to come. Amanda Mosher. Better to be able to love than to be lovable. Oh, when I come forward, the voice of reason will be asking a crap ton of questions. I want to know what you think. I want you to call in. Share your red flags.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event, or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, nonprofit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically Black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
But more specifically, I wanted to do this video today to give some of you some insight on some toxic patterns that show up fairly early on in a relationship. So these are things that you really want to pay attention to. And if you think you're in a toxic relationship, I have a free download that you can access from the description box below that will give you more information and a checklist on toxic patterns in a relationship. And here's a hint, it's a lot about how that relationship and that person makes you feel. So let's jump right in to the 10 toxic phrases. If you hear these phrases, you may want to run. So the first toxic phrase is, "You're just like," insert the name of this toxic influence in your life here. So for some people, it might be a parent. You're just like your mother. You're just like your father. And even if that person is not necessarily a toxic influence to you, the way that this one is said implies that it's a bad thing. You know, you're just like your mother, and that is a terrible thing. You embody all the negative characteristics of this one person. Now, first of all, if the person that they're comparing you to is actually a toxic influence in your life, or if they have some, really negative traits that you don't want to be associated with, this is going to come across as a dig. And if you're being compared to somebody that you've never had an issue with, somebody who's close to you, this one can hit a little bit close to home because, first of all, you're wondering, well, what's wrong with this other person? I love them. There's no issue here. And then second of all, you're wondering, what's wrong with me? And that's what this is meant to do. This is meant to get you to question yourself and sometimes to question the other person too. So the second toxic phrase is, "You're too sensitive," or "You're overreacting," or "You're making a big deal out of nothing." Now, this phrase is usually problematic because what this person is doing is kind of invalidating your feelings. Even if it's something that has nothing to do with them, they're kind of invalidating the way you feel about that whatever situation that was. And that can be a red flag because if they're not honoring your feelings about something that has nothing to do with them, How are they going to act when it's something that does, when they've done something to hurt your feelings? One exception here would be if you asked their opinion and, maybe you think that you acted without getting all the information and that could have seemed like you were overreacting. But still, in this situation, you should feel like this person is honoring your feelings and how you feel about it. And they may have an opinion that they can share with you, but they're not trying to override your feelings. This is especially a red flag, of course, when what you're talking about is how the other person hurt your feelings.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Red Flag Wednesdays. We talked about red flags in relationships. The concept of red flags encompasses subtle yet crucial internal indicators that warrant attention within ourselves and in our relationships. On an individual level, internal warning signs may manifest as persistent feelings of unease, gut instincts, or reoccurring negative thoughts and emotions. These cues may signal unresolved traumas, insecurities, or unmet needs, influencing our behavior and decision-making process. In relationships, internal red flags often emerge as discomfort, unease, or a sense of emotional disconnection. Patterns of defensiveness, avoidance, or codependency may also indicate potential issues. Self-awareness and introspection play pivotal roles in recognizing these warning signs, providing an opportunity for personal growth and healing. Now listen, as a radio guy that talks about relationships all the time, I want to emphasize the importance of addressing internal red flags. Not just a red flag you get from your partner, the ones that pop up in you, right? First, you have to engage in self-reflection and seeking support from friends that have hurdled some of the issues that you may not have, right? These particular individuals can help you navigate the emotional landscape, right? Especially if they're a therapist or a clinician or someone that works in that industry. They're going to help you cultivate healthier boundaries, and they're going to help you make conscious choices. A lot of times, people lean on themselves when they see a red flag within themselves because they think it's just their problem. But it becomes everybody's problem when you bring your internal red flag into a relationship with another without a contingency plan for how to deal with it. I think it's important that, that at least tell us what we're going to be dealing with potentially. All right. You already know I got questions. Are red flags within intimate relationships just par for the course because humanity is naturally flawed? Are red flags the secret ingredient to making some people appear more attractive? Sometimes we be attracted to the red flag. Don't front. 1-800-920-1580. Get in here. I want to talk to you. What are some of your internal red flags? In other words, the red flag that is flown that actually indicates to you that you have something to work on. I want to know. 1-800-920-1580. Why do so many people in intimate relationships ignore red flags? Why do we ignore the red flags? Some people say we ignore red flags because we love the person. Can your love for someone cause you to ignore a red flag in them? Now, please understand, the red flag that they represent externally has to be recognized by something. And remember, knowledge is a reflex of memory. To recognize something is to know what it is. Do you see how they're related? Relationship is a mirror. The red flag in you said, that's attractive. That's a known to me. Let's talk about it. 1-800-920-1580. What is the purpose of relational red flags? Do red flags actually have a meaning, a purpose? 1-800-920-1580. Should I give it away? Of course I should. Red flags pop up in relationship because they're designed to show us what needs to be worked on from the inside out, right? So somebody comes into your life and they got red flags, and it triggers your internal red flags. Right off the top, you're supposed to say, why do I like this person? Why am I attracted to this person? What wound in me? Listen, what wound, what unhealed wound in me resonates to the red flag that they represent? Then you got to go even deeper. Why did I ignore it? Why am I choosing to ignore the red flag? I believe that everything in life has a purpose. Nothing on planet Earth is purposeless. Least of all, red flags in relationships. Many people will lean towards the ideation that a red flag is an indicator that you should end a relationship. I beg to differ. A red flag is an indicator that you should stop and start investigating the red flag from the inside out. That's what I believe. You may have a different belief. I value your belief in the same way I value my own, right? Do red flags exist within healthy relationships? Good ones. Ones that, got the power, got the passion, got the love, got the money. Do red flags actually exist in quote unquote healthy relationships? I would say yes. Why? Because every human being is a work in progress. So the whole concept of relationship goals and they got a good relationship and they good and all of that, take that with a grain of salt, right? Because their relationship and all what's good might not be good for you, right? Might not. Somebody said red means love. Attila said red means love. Listen, when I come forward, I'm going to jump to the phone lines because people are starting to call in. This is a national discussion. Red flags. Why do you attract them? Why do you embrace them? Why do you ignore them? Why do you ignore your own red flags on the inside? I want to know all things red flags.
On fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. There's new hope that the U.S. may soon get some information about a black Texas soldier who was captured when he crossed into North Korea. The State Department has reached out to the reclusive nation to get an update. For the first time, North Korea has responded, but they did not give an update. There's fear that Private Travis King is being tortured. He was in the process of being shipped back to El Paso's Fort Bliss when he slipped away from the airport and made a dash across the border. And supporters of former President Donald Trump are being asked for donations to help fight off what the Trump campaign is calling the left's witch hunts. One day after Trump was indicted for his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election, his campaign sent out emails claiming the former president could face up to 561 years in prison because of the, quote, corrupt DOJ. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? Call the accident guys to speak with a real expert attorney for a free consultation.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Dominique DePrima here. Having a good credit score is one critical step to obtain a loan to buy a home. But did you know that your credit score is just one factor in getting a mortgage loan? Think about this. Lenders also consider your income, your employment history, current monthly debts, the size of the loan, and the amount of your down payment. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives support you in reaching them. Access your personal financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
On a Mission Youth Travel presents the 2023 Morehouse Homecoming HBCU College Tour, October 25th through October 29th in Atlanta, Georgia. Open to high school students grades 9 through 12. For more information, please call 323-298-4779. Again, 323-298-4779. Students will tour Morehouse College, Spelman College, Clark Atlanta University, Alabama State, and Tuskegee University. Email info@onamissionyouthtravel.com. Again, info@onamissionyouthtravel.com. The HBCU tour price includes all meals, transportation, round-trip airfare with one checked bag, hotel accommodations, all museums, college tours, and admission to the Morehouse versus Kentucky State University homecoming football game. Spaces are filling up quickly, so call today to sign up. 323-298-4779. Again, 323-298-4779.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
You want to know what's hard about modern dating? How much time we got here? It's usually not until the end of your relationship that you get the full picture. The clearest perspective of where things went wrong. Warning signs, red flags that were staring you right in front of the face we missed because we were so caught up in the passion. You might even think to yourself, if I only knew this about this person from day one, I could have saved so much time, energy, money, lots of money. You guys seen the price for dinner for two lately? Inflation's no joke. So that's why in today's video, we're going over 7 relationship red flags you should never ignore. Quick note, these are my personal standard. I encourage you to make your own list, but I think that these are a good jump off point for everyone. Second, I'm talking about committed, serious relationships here. You're serious about them, they're serious about you. Not the texting phase or, you just met someone off an app from week 1. You'll see why with red flag number 3, why that might be a little too much too soon. I was dating a woman in my early 20s and we kept getting into these out of nowhere big blow up fights. I would ask her where she was coming up with these ideas or thoughts or why she was making this such a big deal. And after about 2 or 3 questions, we would trace it back to something one of her friends told her. I saw how friends can affect you firsthand. So right off the bat, if the person you're dating and gonna get serious with has some sketchy friends that you don't really like, that could be cause for concern. There's a saying, birds of feather flock together. You might have heard that you are the average of the 5 people you hang around most. That's not just a good saying, it's true. There was a statistic I saw a while ago where if your best friends are overweight or obese, you're like 50% or something more likely to be obese or overweight yourself. So if you really get a bad gut feeling about someone's close circle of friends, that might be a sign of how they actually are or behave later down the road, because you do become who you hang around. I'll start with saying I believe that everyone deserves a second chance. But if the person you're getting serious with has a history of infidelity or cheating, you want to really listen for how they talk about what happened when it comes up. Anything less than complete full ownership that they messed up, they feel guilty about it, they're sorry it ever happened. If they're justifying poor behaviors with, I had to cheat because I wasn't getting XYZ. Again, that's justifying toxic behavior. Personally, I wouldn't sign up for that. This one is going to be very unpopular. My relationship with social media is very odd because I make a living from it. I am very public on social media. I have a whole brand and a business on it. But the data is out and we know how unhealthy it is for the everyday person. Not only what it does for your dopamine levels and kind of disassociating from life, but what it does to your self-esteem and how it sets unrealistic expectations that dictate.
Woo! Tonight is on fire, man. Listen, we talking about red flags. Sometimes our eye is only focused on our partner, the red flags they come with. Don't you know the red flags they come with mixed with the red flags you already have, making one big giant redder flag? Listen, I'm here to tell you, relationship is a mirror. People don't know how to use that metaphor. Here's how you use it. Typically, your attachment styles are complementary. That's how a relationship can be a mirror. Also, when you're trauma bonded, the trauma in them is attracted to, addicted to, and attached to the trauma in you. That's relationship as a mirror. But we can take relationship as a mirror from the author himself, J. Krishnamurti, when he says, in the problem itself, not beyond it, is the answer. See, we think the problem is our partner. No, the problem is us. How we were raised, how we were cultured, the belief systems we have, the ideas, the concepts, the self-concepts or lack thereof. We're calling in experience so that the experience can level us up. Krishnamurti said, in the problem itself, not beyond it, is the answer. It is not a very, listen, I want you guys to hear this. Is it not a very strange thing in this world where there is so much distraction, entertainment, that almost everybody is a spectator and very few of us are players? Whenever we have a little free time, most of us seek some form of amusement. We pick up a serious book, a novel, or a magazine. If we are in America, we turn on the radio, KBLA Talk 1580, or the television, or we indulge in incessant talk. There is a constant demand to be amused, to be entertained, to be taken away from ourselves. Krishnamurti, man. Many times relationship is the preferred escape. You want to be taken away from yourself because you know inside you that's where the real work is. How you process, how you deal, how you handle. Everybody gets to handle it the way they need to handle it. Everybody gets to deal with it the way they get to deal with it, but that doesn't mean it's optimal. That doesn't mean it will bode for having a healthy, meaningful relationship. We about to get deep. You talk about red flags. Come on. Let's go. The phone lines are on fire. Let's get the people who's been in here the longest. Let's go. Reggie, Austin, Texas, talk to me.
Man, it was very easy to ignore the red flags and on some level embrace those flags because they made the person human. Often I saw people as though they were seemingly flawless, and they were always on point. They always knew what to say. They always had, the best catchphrase. It was just, they were always in rhythm. And if I identified a red flag in them, then they seemed more human. And when they were human, I could embrace my own humanity. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it was easy to be around them because I saw a flaw in them. Like if you saw a comic book character, everybody has a flaw. And it doesn't make Superman any less super because of the kryptonite. But it makes him more relatable. You see what I'm saying? And so the flaw made the woman more relatable to me.
But let me stop you. Reggie, you're a human being. Your name, Reggie, Reginald, Regal, Royal. You of a different ilk, my brother. You're of a different caliber and quality. Most people are afraid of their humanity. The sister Delana said, I'm not in love with you. I'm in fear with you. You speaking of rarefied air right now, Reggie. Most people are not thrilled to see the humanity in another person. They're just not. Because sometimes that humanity could be ugly. It could be frightening. It could be terrifying. Am I lying, Reggie? Help me understand.
Yes, that's real. That's real. But it could be terrifying, but at least it's true. At least it's who you are. Mm-hmm. And I could find just some level of just flaw in you. You're fallible. You're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? It's a flaw that's in there that makes you human, makes you relatable. And you could still be beautiful, but at least you're relatable. And that's all I needed at that point. So I'm not sure if I'm in rarefied air or not, man.
I've already
because
said
I was just I was just, well, I mean, yeah, because you said it just.
Hey, stay with me, Reg. I got to go forward. But when we come forward, we going back to Austin, Texas, because Reggie never disappoints.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more.
Moments like my daughter telling me a new joke mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Just let it ride a little bit behind me, man. Wouldn't you rather focus on the positive? Wouldn't you rather focus on the good qualities of your partner? Listen, you want to change yourself? You want to change the world? All you got to do is shift your perspective about what happens in the world. Shift your perspective about who you think you are and who you think your partner is. Anybody that has ever done anything great had a shift in consciousness. I'm going to tell you what a red flag is to me. Somebody who can't shift from negative experiences. Listen, the great ones in life find a way to find the silver lining. Yes, red flags can exist within healthy relationships. While healthy relationships are generally characterized by trust, respect, and open communication, it is essential to acknowledge that no relationship is perfect. Red flags in healthy relationships may be a subtle warning, right? That prompt partners to address minor issues, right? Before they escalate, right? Healthy relationships recognize the importance of addressing concerns and working together to resolve conflicts constructively. Red flags can serve as opportunities for growth and understanding, fostering a deeper connection and emotional intimacy. Man, I want my relationship to feel like this record. Don't you want your love to feel like Velaz from Quincy Jones? Just imagine, man. You guys are open. You guys are non-judgmental. Bi-directionally compassionate, bi-directionally empathetic. You guys have this understanding that I'm with a live human being that is capable of hurting me while at the same time loving me deeply. It's a red flag for me if you don't see it that way. Because I know the seed of blame is in you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Voice of Reason, man. I'm turned up right now. I'm just in a space right now. The Voice of Reason is on fire. Let's get Reggie back in here. Reg!
Wow. Man, that's exactly what I was thinking as far as, because I mean, Velas, that's my jam, bro. That's for real.
Velas, man. Quincy Jones, my playlist.
The whole album, bro, was tight.
Right.
But man, as far as the red flags though, I need a red flag to kind of draw me back into reality. I want to think positive, just like you were saying, but those red flags make me human, and that humanity makes the art beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As far as life is concerned, life is a beautiful struggle. So it makes it beautiful because I see you trying to work out that red flag, and I'm trying to work out mine. And while we do it together, it gives me more agency to work out my stuff, That's right. And so I'm kind of drawn to the red flag because it makes it more real.
Flag on the play. Hey, brother, I appreciate the call. Austin, Texas is in the building. Did you know that the Voice of Reason is a national radio show? Don't get it twisted. I love my Los Angelinos. I love it when y'all call in. Call me right now, 1-800-920-1580. Get on the line. But let me tell you, if LA don't call, guess what? We're going back to Dallas. Dallas, Texas, Truemonger, get in here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. What are your thoughts?
Oh, man. I think if you ignore the red flags, whether within yourself or your partner, eventually you're going to bite yourself in the butt. You're going to end up stepping on yourself, if that makes any sense. You got to be cautious. You got to be conscious of them. Whether it's through self-discovery or whether your partner is reflecting them. And, so some people are going to be resistant. But if it keeps happening, eventually you're going to have to pay attention to it. And hopefully you pay attention to it enough to where you can make adjustments or at least be honest about what your red flags are.
Truemonger, let me ask you a quick question. What do they call those big books that they put on the table, on the coffee table? What are those books? What are they for? They're like picture books, or there might be books of photography of really nice pictures and photographs or whatever. What are those books called? Isn't that like a conversation piece? Like you got this
something like that.
Yeah, okay. Would red flags
coffee table books, yeah.
Yes, would red flags be considered a conversation piece for relationships? What are your thoughts? Should we consider them that way?
It can be if you're open-minded to discussing. If you're willing to discuss them, but a lot of people aren't. A lot of people rather pretend like nothing's wrong with them. It's somebody else. If I do have red flags, it's not an issue for me. It might be an issue for them, but they don't bother me. If they have a problem with it, they can kick rocks. That's how some people will respond to it. A mature person is going to be willing to listen and go and look within themselves. Like, is this really what's going on with me? Is what they're telling me is how I actually respond to things? Maybe it's been going on so long that it's just habitual.
Sometimes you get numb to the red flag. I see. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I see.
Well,
man, this heavy talk, man. This heavy talk. True. I gotta push. Hold on, finish your thought, brother.
I think it comes with maturity and being willing to just first be honest with yourself, and then once that's established, you can begin to deal with them and address them going forward, whether it's you or your partner. Because in most cases, it's going to be both. Everybody has something to deal with.
100%, brother. I appreciate you, True Monger. You brought Dallas, Texas in the building. Listen, if you want to bring your city in the building, if you want to bring your city in the building, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me. 1-800-920-1580. What happens when you ignore red flags? I want to know what you guys think. I'm very interested to see what red flags exist in you and what red flags exist in your partner, and if they're somehow related. Somebody call me when we come forward. Hour number 2 of the VOR.